All right, people, we're back with some brand spanking new summer salad recipes that don't suck. Nay, nay. In fact, I dare say they shine. These salads are protein packed enough that they're really wholesome meals, or just, super satisfying side salads for some of your favorite summer recipes. We're gonna be using tofu in both salads, but we're transforming the tofu in ways you've probably never thought of before in a salad. So stick around and let's get to the first recipe. Oh, you guys, this one, I'm jazzed about this first recipe. It's a peach salsa salad. What? Is it a salsa or is it a salad? Or is it both? I don't know. You be the judge. Just make it and you tell me in the comment below. It's like the perfect fusion of a salad, but it's a salsa. I reckon maybe a salsa is just a version of a salad with smaller chopped up bits. But we kind of have the best of both worlds. You can eat this as a salad with, like chips and tortillas, or you can put it on a bed of greens, or you can just eat it straight out of the bowl with a spoon and call it a day. It is so packed with fresh summer produce like peaches, avocados, bell peppers, red onion, some jalapenos. It's got some kick to it, it's juicy, and it's fresh, and oh my god, it's life-changing. So let's do this thing. So the first step to making this peach salsa salad is actually to prepare our protein first, which is a block of extra firm tofu that's been pressed. So we're actually going to shred this with a box grater. So grab one of these here little devices, these little cowbell looking devices, and we're going to use the large hole side of the grater. We're just going to shred the tofu into a big mixing bowl. Shredding tofu really does change the texture of tofu, especially when you're air frying it, which is what we're gonna do. It just becomes chewier and a little bit crispy in spots, and it's just the best. Once it's in a bowl, we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Low sodium is preferable, or tamari if you are gluten-free. We're gonna toss it in the soy sauce first to coat it, and once it's all, wet and saucy, we're gonna toss in 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, just for a little bit of extra protein, but also some nice, good, savory flavor, and then some cumin and chili powder, and if I had smoked paprika, I'd add some of that too, but half a teaspoon of each. Give it a toss with all those spices, and then we're just going to transfer the shredded seasoned tofu onto an air fryer basket, and we're gonna pop that into the air fryer for a grand total of about 20 minutes or so at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and give it a little toss halfway through so that you don't get any burnt spots. That's the tofu. That's literally how easy it is. At the same time, we gotta take care of these here little cutie patootie ears of corn. I've never known why they call them ears. If you actually know the explanation as to why these are called ears of corn, you can tell me. Now, there's a few ways you can go about charring the corn, which is what we're doing. You can do it in the air fryer, you can do it on the barbecue, you can do it in a grill pan on the stove, but since I have my air fryer on anyway, it's just easier to throw the corn in with the tofu and just let them do their thing at the same time. The goal is to basically get the corn really nice and charred in some spots, nicely golden browned and crisped in some spots. So what you're gonna wanna do here is you're gonna take a teaspoon of oil, could be any neutral oil, just kind of lightly brush it along the whole piece of corn here. And then we're just going to lightly sprinkle over about half a teaspoon of Old Bay seasoning on the corn. The Old Bay is so good, so if you have it or can get it, don't skip it. It's just like got the best flavor ever. And if you know, you know. Massage the spices and the oil into the corn if you need to get it a little bit more evenly. And then on a separate baking tray, if you can fit it in your air fryer, which I can because it's multi-tiered, pop the corn into the air fryer, either below or above the tofu, and let that air fry for about 20 minutes as well, turning it about halfway through to make sure it air fries and chars evenly. Sweet, okay. Things are air frying, and for the next 20 minutes of their air frying journey, all we gotta do is prepare some veggies and fruit. Now, I did say that this recipe has peaches. However, when I went to the grocery store to acquire said peaches, they are all sold out. Must because they're so popular because it's peach season. But anyway, if you can't get your hands on peaches, do not fear, for you can use the humble nectarine, which, fun fact, nectarines are actually just a type of peach that don't have fuzz, and they just taste a little bit different than a peach, but they're still super good, and obviously have some very similar flavorings to a peach. So you can use nectarines, which is what I'm doing today. We're going to chop them up into like little 1-inch cubes, and that pretty much goes for the rest of all of our veggies. We got a couple bell peppers, grenadine. Yeah, our grenadine bell peppers. We're going to also chop up some tomatoes, but take out the seeds, the guts, if you will, because they'll just make your salad kind of mushy if you don't finish eating the salad in one day, which, let's be real, it's so good you might eat it in one day. Avocado, cube it up, add some nice healthy fats there, and then we got half a red onion, some garlic, finely minced, pretty please. And now this, whoa, hello, that was a little aggressive. This, our jalapeno, is optional, but I do highly recommend it. Even if you don't like spiciness, you can take out the seeds. Just carefully scrape them out, mince it up, wash your hands after for the love of lentils. Don't want you to burn your eyeballs or your nose or your mouth. It just adds a nice little bit of a fiery kick without being too fiery, you know what I mean? Squeeze in the juice of a whole lime and chop up about a cup of cilantro. So easy. And then it all goes into a bowl, as we do with salads. Now, I know, she's a beaut, but she's not quite done yet, even though I could just literally eat this right now. But no, we got 2 more things to add. Our tofu and our corn. The tofu is nice and crisped up. It's not too crispy, not too crunchy, but it's got a nice, chewy, slightly drier texture, and smells nice. So we're gonna just add that right into the bowl along with the fresh fruit and veggies. And once your blackened corn, which kind of blackened a little bit unevenly in my case, but that's fine. Once it's about, you know, cool enough for you to handle, you're not gonna scorch your little fingers, we're gonna take a knife, we're going to just cut down the edges of the corn, and we're just going to get all of the juicy, charred kernels off of the corn cobs. Put it in the bowl, baby. I could just eat that mountain of corn. Now, all that's left to do is to add some salt and pepper and an optional drizzle of olive oil if you want, about a tablespoon. But if you're oil free, you can skip this and give it a nice little tossy-tossy, as we do around here, of course. Oh my God, what am I even smelling right now? This is like, it's roasty, it's toasty, it's corny. Corny, like me. It's sweet, it's got like the fragrant, punchy funk of the garlic and the onion and the jalapeno, and oh my God, I can't wait. I need this right now. Oh my God. I am like literally shook. I'm shook. I think this is one of the best salads I've ever made in my whole life. That nectarine is life-giving, but I don't know what's better, the nectarine that's juicy and sweet, or the smoky, roasty, toasty, charred corn. Like, I don't even know. I don't know what's to love more, but this is just absolutely delicious. And you need to make this. It's so high in protein, you guys. One of these servings will give you anywhere from 22 to 30 grams of protein per serving, depending on how much you eat. Whew. Eat it with some chips, eat it with some lettuce, eat it with a spoon. That's a pow right to the kisser. I do say I'm quite good at giving multiple pows to the kisser in the form of delicious recipe videos twice a week, so if that sounds like your jam, subscribe below if you're not already. And let's continue with this video. Well, that was fun. You ready for some more? Yeah, you are. We're doing a vegan bacon and a zucchini salad, and we're making bacon with some tofu and one of these. Yep. A vegetable peeler. In fact, we're gonna be using this vegetable peeler a lot today, so hope you have a good one. We're not only going to be peeling the block of tofu and turning it into delicious oven-baked bacony strips, but we're also gonna be peeling up the zucchinis into these long, thin, almost like flat noodle type things, and we're going to be creating the salad in all these delicious layers of zucchini and tofu bacon and other fun accoutrements. So we're gonna get right into it by starting to make the tofu bacon, or shall we call it fakin'. So first of all, grab yourself one of these, a big old sheet pan, and line it with parchment paper or a silicone baking mat, and get your oven preheating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You're gonna need a block of extra firm tofu that has been pressed, or you can use super firm and you don't have to press it. Then you're gonna grab your old vegetable peeler. One of these kind is preferable. I don't know what it's called, a T peeler, a Y peeler, but you know, this kind. So pretty much you're just going to plop your block of tofu and flip it over on its side onto a cutting board. And using your vegetable peeler, you're just going to basically make slices from one side to the other down kind of the narrow edge of the tofu until you've used up all of your tofu. It's pretty simple. It's okay if some of them kind of fall apart or a little bit thicker or thinner than other pieces, or if you have some long pieces and some short pieces. The more misshapen and weird they look, the better, because you know, they're just gonna look more perfectly imperfect and more beautifully bacon-ish. But for real, don't worry too much about how they look, because we're just going to assemble them in an even layer on our prepared baking tray. Try not to have them overlap too much. I mean, there is going to be some, but try and get them in as even as a layer as possible. And then once they are in an even layer, we're going to quickly whisk up our bacony sauce, which is just 3 tablespoons of soy sauce or tamari if you're gluten-free, a tablespoon of maple syrup, a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, and half a teaspoon each of garlic powder and smoked paprika, or you can sub the smoked paprika for liquid smoke if you have it. And then using a pastry brush, we're just going to lightly brush on that sauce. Just gently caress it with the sauce. And then using a spatula or a silicone pair of tongs, just flip over each piece of tofu and repeat. Dress up those slices with that tofu sauce until everything is fully coated and saturated and sassy, much like myself. Once that's all done, we're just gonna pop the tofu bacon slices in the oven for like 20 to 30 minutes. Really depends on how hot your oven runs, but they should be nice and crisped up around the edges. They'll have dried up a ton and, you know, sort of start to resemble bacon. I recommend flipping them halfway through cook time, so maybe check them around the 15-minute mark. We don't want things to burn. Although, if you have historically enjoyed burnt bacon, you know, go for it. Don't let me stop you from burning it. While the tofu bacon does its thing in the oven, we're going to continue on with life and make our very simple salad dressing before we get to the veggies. You're gonna use the zest and the juice of a whole big honky lemon. Plus, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to a little bowl, plus some salt and pepper, about a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of black pepper. Give it all a good whiskey until you have a lovely lemony dressing and set it aside. And now it's time to prepare our zucchinis, or courgettes, depending on where you live in the world. Don't know why I'm using my zucchini as a microphone, but here we are. Can you tell I'm filming on a Friday? I tend to get loopy at the end of the week. Anyway, moving on. Grab yourself that beautiful vegetable peeler that we attempted to use for the tofu, but we're not successful. Perhaps you will be successful. We're going to pretty much do the exact same thing, and we're just going to take said zucchini courgettes, and we're going to make little peels, make big peels. We're gonna do this until you have no more zucchinis left. Yes, they're falling all over the place, but we're going to eventually be putting these into a bowl. So just do this the whole time, and then you'll have like zucchini noodles, slices, whatever you want to call them. It's a lot of fun. It's really satisfying. You can do this with so many vegetables. Carrots, radishes, makes them fun to eat. Now at some point, you're gonna pretty much have a little stub that you're not able to really peel much from anymore. And if that's the case, you can just either eat it or slice it thinly, or just keep it in your fridge for another recipe. Can you believe this is 3 zucchinis? It looks like way more. That is wild. Okay, once you've had fun with your zucchini noodles, whatever we're calling them, set them aside for a moment. We've got a couple more veggies to prep. We've got just a couple fresh, fragrant elements that we're gonna add to the salad just to jazz it up, add extra flavor. We've got some fresh basil and some green onions. It's gonna add funky, fresh, good times. You only need about 2 or 3 tablespoons of fresh basil, thinly sliced, and 2 green onions, thinly sliced. Now, when it comes to serving, plating this beauty, we're going to grab the biggest serving plate or bowl that you have. A plate would be preferable. Sorry. So once the tofu bacon has come out of the oven, let it cool for just a couple minutes until it's, you know, cool enough to handle so you don't burn yourself. And then we're just going to alternatingly arrange a few slices of the zucchini and then some tofu bacon and then some more zucchini and then some tofu bacon until you have your first layer of goods. Something kind of like this. And then we're gonna take some of these here fine looking roasted pepitas or pumpkin seeds, which are gonna add nice salty crunch, if yours are salted. We're gonna sprinkle some of those on top. We're gonna take some of our freshly chopped basil and our green onion, sprinkle a little bit of that, a bit of that. Sprinkle a little of that on top, and repeat the whole process until pretty much you've used up all the zucchini slices, all the bacon, all the chopped aromatics, the pumpkin seeds. Mwah! She's pretty, but she's not done yet. Once you've got all of your layers, you can just take some of that lovely lemon dressing and drizzle it on top of everything. You can save a little bit if you want in the bowl for when you serve it individually, like when you plate up the salad. And then lastly, an optional but highly recommended step is to add some delicious vegan Parmesan cheese shreds right on top to finish the show. A little finale, if you will. This will just add even more delicious, salty, sharp, cheesy flavor. Heavens to Betsy. Put it together and what have you got? Bacon and zucchini salad. Oh, baby. Look at that. Does that not look just like ridiculous? Parmy and bacony, lemony, basil-y goodness. Get into my mouth right now. The bacon has got to be salty, and boy, it is salty. It's like twirling pasta noodles. Another high protein salad for the books, makes for a great lunch or dinner. Well friends, hope you loved this salad video. I had a lot of fun making it and eating all the things. Make sure you subscribe below because subscribing is free and you get free recipes and we get to be internet friends and life is fun. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and I'll see you in another video real soon. Ta-ta!